the things like other reasons that people don't want to get into teaching now, I hate to say it, it's just like the one thing with teaching is hard is how we're handling kids nowadays.
Yeah.
And that's a big like discipline. We have so much like our problem is there's no way to really discipline a kid. It's hard to attend surgery. Like one of the like honestly, I think this is one of the things made with the greatest of intentions. But I personally think it's one of the worst things ever done to the school system was the No Child Left Behind program. Because like I've had a kid, and there's the No Child. I get the intentions were good. Some of the worst things in the world were all started with the best of intentions.
Yeah.
But like this is one because you have these teachers, and this is where I live. And my dad, I can see, and he's at the high. My dad was a high school teacher, so I started seeing it at the high school. I'm at the elementary, and I saw him at the end. But you have these kids. You're as a teacher, you're trying to teach them the importance of staying focused, working hard. And it's hard when all this do the non-child. Like I remember my old school, I was a mentor for a kid, and he finally just looked at me. I'm doing all this talk. I'm trying to get him to go through. The worst, he said this to me, and this is why I told the school there's nothing I can do. He looked right at me. He goes, "Mr. Harry, I'm going to the next grade anyway. It don't matter what I do."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have nothing to scare. I hate to say it, you got to have a little fear in them that they need to be able to do well. And we've taken all that away. So people now know, like, kids run the show. Ain't nothing I can do.
It's a lot different. It's a lot different now than even 5 years ago. Like, and I go back to like B.F. Skinner and Paget and a lot of the Erickson where they taught, when kids are starting to learn their identity, they crave structure.
Yeah.
They got to have structure. And it's that old adage, you've got to be strong enough to stand up to me so that I know that you can stand up for me. And they got to know where the line is. And I feel like what we've done is, and like, it seems like it's a combination of being afraid of legal repercussions or if it's money or whatever. It just seems to be a combination of that we've gotten the education system in a situation where there are no consequences, and the kids know that. Yeah, I have a friend that is a special educator assistant, and we observed their classroom where they put in a long-term sub in, bless her heart, but she was basically Phyllis from The Office.
Yeah.
Very passive, like, oh, okay, everybody. And these fourth graders just ate her alive.
Yeah.
And because they knew if they went to The Office, they're coming back with a Jolly Rancher.
Yeah. So it's funny that you mentioned that with the candy. That's all discipline. So I've been employed. I've only been a teacher for going out almost 2 years, but I've been employed for over 10 years. Almost 10 years in school system. I started off as a TA.
Yeah.
And I remember I was at my old school, which I'll leave them quiet, but let's say this elementary school I worked at was a feeder school for the high school that my dad taught at. So I remember when I first got started there, I remember telling my dad, "Yo, this discipline is terrible." I go, "Dad, this kid literally punched another kid, and he got a Reese's cup for it." Well, what I saw that. I'm like, and then they send him back to class. Well, guess what? A couple hours later, not only those scores, but the kid was back in. I just started. Is this like cycler back and forth, punching a kid, doing whatever, disrespect, get a piece of candy, come back. I go, Dad, like the student violence is like at an all-time high. Like these kids are just so vicious, the teacher staff. And that was the problem with that group. A lot more very physical. And they would get bad. Well, it's so funny, probably going fast forward about 4 or 5 years. I'm now at my different school, so these kids have all aged out and they moved on. And also I get a call from my dad. He goes, "Son, you will not believe the meeting we had today." I go, "Well, what's that? What's going on, Pops?" He goes, "Garrett, we just had a meeting today." Apparently, we had a meeting. Like, all right, y'all, we're trying to figure out student violence towards staff here at our high school has increased drastically the past years, and we're trying to figure out why. My dad goes, "I don't know why it hit me," because I actually went, "I can tell you." He called me, he goes, "I instantly thought of our conversation a few years ago. We were talking about the student violence and stuff." I go, "Yeah, yeah, Dad." I go, "You think about it. That's going about 4 or 5 years ago. Though you're dealing with the kids now, you're now dealing with kids I was dealing with 4 or 5 years ago. They're now your kids." He goes, and the first thing he raised his head, he goes, is because we've allowed this at the elementary age way too long. We're waiting till they're in high school to find something. Okay, guys, hitting's wrong. We're waiting till they're physically grown adult bodies where they cause serious damage just with a punch. It's like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Do you think
they've been spending 16 years punching, all their anger away? Why didn't we get them at a younger age and teach them proper coping strategies? Why did we wait so long?
Why do you think that? Well, something I've noticed too, specifically with when a student has an IEP or even just a behavior plan, why do you think it becomes it's almost like hands off, like a kid will punch a teacher, but if they have an IEP, even if they don't have an IEP, it's almost like they almost get rewarded, or it's like all these excuses come out. Oh, they're just it's their issues manifesting itself, or what was the antecedent? And I always think about that. It's like that doesn't work in the real world. You can't punch somebody at a supermarket or at a Waffle House and then just be and then expect everybody to be okay. Just like, that was you. My antecedent was that you ran out of syrup at the Waffle House. So I feel like we're training these kids, and any behaviorist worth their salt, you're reinforcing the wrong behavior.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to be talking about how to make excuses. What's that?
We're teaching them how to make excuses.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is what I tell every kid, and I tell all my students all this time. And and I remember this is something I remember talking with the parent before, and I say this to a lot of them. I go, when I'm teaching the skills, like, y'all don't like it. First of all, I didn't ask you if you like it. That's something I never asked.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is what you need to learn to understand.
Uh-huh.
Now, not everything in this world we like, but some things you just got to do. And this is what I tell the kids. And I've had kids, we had our little buddy, our smart little guy.
Yeah.
He knew stuff. And like, he'd be with me, he's been with me, and he'll make us, I got this, Mr. O'Hara. I'm like, yo, hold on, whoa. I go, the fact that you're smart to tell me one is a problem. Two, here's why I'm trying to teach you to learn without it. Because when you leave me and you get older and you're in the adult world, you don't walk around with your IEP stapled to your forehead.
Yeah, it's not.
So you got to learn, especially a lot of these kids. I tell them, a lot of these kids that say have IEPs, if you didn't know they had an IEP, you would never know.
Catch full episodes of the Educators Podcast every Thursday at 4 p.m. Real educators with the real issues in education. Thank you so much for watching. And, of course, take care of yourself. Jeans passes for anyone who likes, shares, and comments on this video. Have a great week.